buds. Welcome back to my channel, Sprouts with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. I'm just turning on the camera because I've got a bunch of plants to repot. All right, let me actually sit down so that you can see me without me having to be like, hey.
I just went ahead and turned on the camera because there are a number of repotting situations that I've been holding off on doing, procrastinating because I wanted to film them, but I just didn't really have a good time to sit down and do it, so we're doing it now.
If I'm being honest, it's been a little bit of a struggle finding good times to film uninterrupted because, you know, for a while there we were in a good rhythm with having 2 kids, but now the second child, my 9-month-old, is crawling, pulling himself up on things, and, you know, fully mobile. And my 2.5-year-old, you know, she's getting better,
but she still can't really be trusted.
We're kind of in that, it's hard for me to film unless someone else is watching them or they're taking a nap. They're both napping at the same time by some miracle of God. So we're gonna take advantage of that, and hopefully neither of them wake up. But if they do, my husband is here because it's a Saturday. So this seemed like a good time. First things first, I want to repot my Thai constellation, or at least investigate the roots, because I want you to take a look at this. My word, do you see all these roots are growing out the top of the pot? Like, they're coming out of the soil. They're not just like aerial roots necessarily, they're just literally
growing out of the soil.
And this plant has also been drying out really quickly, so I don't know. I feel like it hasn't been long enough to warrant a repot, but I don't know. Maybe the root system is just really beefy on this thing and the roots go crazy.
I don't know.
And after that, if we have time, I think I need to repot my Epicremnum pinnatum alba variegata, which is very beautiful. Oh my goodness, look at it. It's really thriving, but I've noticed there's some roots coming out of the bottom and it's been drying out very quickly, so I'm wondering if it also needs to be potted up a size, and in that case, I think this could go into this pot. It's kind of my reasoning. As far as the pole goes, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I have a pole that's like 3 times as long as this one that I could theoretically use. It might look a little bit funny, but we'll have to see. And then after that, I have a few other plants, but I don't know for sure if we're gonna get to them or not, so I'm gonna hold off on showing them to you because I don't wanna promise something and then break my promise, okay? So, all right, we're gonna start off with the Thai constellation. Also, I'm sorry for the lighting. It's a gloomy day today, so I also turned on the overhead lighting and it's like very orange. Also, I realize this is kind of a massive change in pot. This is like almost a 10-inch pot. So like, this might not be the best idea, but I don't think that I have a smaller pot than this. Actually, before I commit to this, because this is kind of an absurdly large pot difference. I mean, I like it being in terracotta, but now that I'm seeing it in person, it's like, maybe a bit too big. All right, these are my only 2 other options. Let's see. So this would probably be the most reasonable one, although it is plastic terracotta, which, like, I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of, but technically that would be going up only about 1 inch. And then this one, how does this one compare? I mean, this one's definitely a couple of inches, although I would get to see the root system, which might be nice. I mean, these 2 are like almost the same, but I think this is ever so slightly smaller. I want to say this is 9-inch and this is like 9.8 inch. And then this I think is an 8-inch. This is like, is this a 6-inch pot or 7-inch pot? I don't really know, to be honest with you. I can't remember. I feel like it's only a 6-inch pot, which means this is probably an 8-inch, which, yeah, this is probably the most ideal. But let's just look at the root system before we make any commitments. I hear my son stirring, but my husband's on duty, so I'm just gonna have to trust that he'll handle it. Okay, wow, yeah. I mean, I can see why the roots have been growing up, because I would define that as fairly root bound. See, look at that. Definitely Yeah, it could use an upsize, that's for sure. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. All right, we're just gonna go for it. Looks about right. And I feel like this plant has, you know, it's always been a slow grower, but it's been trucking along pretty nicely for a while, like putting out a leaf like every month. But then it just kind of suddenly stopped over the summer too, which is, you know, an interesting time to stop growing. And I think this is why. Maybe it was just a little bit too root bound, and I was like,
Excuse me. I need some help before I can grow anymore.
so yeah, hopefully this will kind of solve that issue. And honestly, given the fact that it grew out of that pot so quickly, that gives me hope that we won't be in this plastic pot for long, because again, I'm just not that big of a fan of these types of pots. Like, they're fine, especially from afar, you know, it's fine. But I just much prefer either like a clear pot or vessel, like even glass or something like that, or terracotta, or like a really pretty glazed pot, you know, just something different or unique, or like ceramic. I don't know. I prefer all of that to opaque plastic, because clear plastic, that's fine. I can jive with. I like seeing the roots. It's a look, you know, but yeah, this kind, But there we go. I think that will be maybe happy, you know? All right, now let's investigate my Epipremnum pinnatum. Let's see, I'm just gonna try to take the whole thing out. Oh! One fell swoop. Yep, I would say that's also pretty root bound. Hang on. Look at that. That's such a nice plant. Okay, now to make the decision, do I want to just keep it on this pole and try to extend this pole somehow? Because I have other of this kind, I think, somewhere, unless my husband inadvertently used it as firewood, which is also possible. I think that's happened at least once. No, I know where to get it. I can get the same exact kind, or I could just use a massive pole. Let me go get that other one that I have. I also just have this massive thing that I could use that's, yeah, like almost 3 times, maybe 2.5 times the length of the current one, which, I don't know, that might be a little bit unstable. And I don't even know for sure, like, if I want this plant to get this tall or not. I may hold off on that and propagate it. Okay, let me see if I even have the extension. Okay, I think I found a solution. I don't have the same exact size of this. If I did, I would probably just try to use this method on that, but I had this size, which is just a little bit smaller, but it's the same length, and I just stapled 2 pieces together, and it's like actually pretty sturdy. So that worked pretty well, and it was less waiting than trying to like use wood glue or carve out a joint or something. So this is a good solution, I think, because that way it's not quite as absurdly long as this stick, but, you know, longer than this one. So I think that'll work. Okay, well, let's just go for it. So first step is, of course, add some soil. Ooh, okay, the one downside to this, guys, is that this plant has absolutely actually attached, and it has tried to attach before, and like it did, but I accidentally ripped it off. But it has actually like reattached to this plank. So that is kind of the downside. I don't know if you can like really see that. See, it's that root right there. It has attached, which is really cool. But also, I feel kind of bad, kind of like removing this plant from its plank. But I can't really do much about that because I just don't, unless I were to like staple on like a smaller piece. But I don't know if you can tell, but it's just not the same size, so I don't think it would hold as well. Sorry, dude, I just don't have the right size. So regardless, I'm gonna have to rip you off. There you go. Sorry. Oh, and he's also attached on here. Sorry, 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 sorry. Yeah, see, there's marks in the wood from the roots, which is really cool. I do think that this plant is quite fond of climbing, so hopefully it won't make that big of a difference to it. I don't know. I think it's privy to attaching itself, is kind of what I'm trying to say. Which, yeah, epipremnums seem to be really into climbing, even if there isn't really moisture. Like they're one of those plants I found that, you know, they'll attach to a wall, they'll attach to a plank very readily. He's just a really big fan. I've been thinking a little bit about like the content that I make for YouTube lately. And I really do enjoy making videos and that sort of thing. Sometimes I do feel a little bit discouraged because, like, I don't know, I have a lot of ideas of how to make things even better and even cooler and like have a super, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but like I have a lot of ideas for my content, but I don't know that I have the capacity to like execute all of those ideas, if that makes sense. So I'm struggling a little bit in that regard. You'll have to let me know if you think I should test out different waters with my content, like if I should experiment with like more long form or like sit down videos that are like really research based or like commentary based, or if you just want me to like keep doing plant chores, or if I should try to do, I don't know, more analysis-based videos, or if you're good with the laid-back stuff, or if you want me to add more aesthetic things and up the production value. I have a lot of ideas all the time, but again, I don't know how much capacity I have to execute them, but I don't even know like what you guys would want, if you would even want me to change things up, or if you just like them as they are. I also wrestle a lot with the tension between making content for beginner plant parents versus making content for people that have been doing this for a while. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like some people, if they found my channel and they were newer to houseplants, they might feel a little bit intimidated. And so I've thought about making some content catered towards people that are maybe just starting out on their journey of collecting houseplants, or maybe they only have a few houseplants, that sort of thing. But at the same time, I don't want to, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of the audience of my channel are people that are further along. You know, they're not necessarily looking for beginner type content. So I don't know, let me know what your thoughts are. Like, number one, like where are you at in your planting journey? When you found this channel, were you more of a beginner plant parent, and where are you at now? Or did you find me later in your journey? I'm just trying to discern what kind of content I should be making for the people that are watching my videos, if that makes sense, because I do know a handful of people like in real life. Not to say that this isn't real life, but you know what I mean. Like, I know a handful of people in my life that watch my videos sometimes and they're like,
ooh, like I found it a little bit intimidating because you were getting into stuff and just talking about things and not really explaining them.
and I'm like, I don't want to make people feel weird if they don't know what I'm talking about. but I also don't want to bore the people that already know all those things. Does that make any sense at all? Basically, I've been thinking about making a little bit more content that's geared towards beginners so that that's more accessible. And I don't know, sometimes I feel discouraged from making those kinds of videos because in my mind, oh, well, there's so many other videos like that already out on the internet. But I recently went through a period where I started delving into a new topic on YouTube and like discovered a new channel. And so I was sort of meta-analyzing what led me to that channel and what made me continue watching when it was a topic that I was less familiar with. And I was like, well, do I have any access points like that on my channel for people to discover what I'm doing? And again, I feel really discouraged in making that type of content a lot of the time because I feel like other people will find other content first and watch that, and then by the time they get to my channel, they'll be like, I already know all that stuff. But I've heard somewhere, or someone was like, there might be a lot of stuff on that topic out there, but like no one can explain it the way that you can, so you still bring value to the table because
not everyone can explain it the way that you explain it, and the way that you explain it might be the way that really clicks with someone.
And so that's where I was like, okay, maybe I will make some content, but I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. If I should make some stuff that might be more geared towards beginners or beginner friendly. Like, not that everything on my channel would be that way, but I don't know, like maybe I should be doing more explaining or teaching based on my experience rather than just showing what I'm doing all the time, just to vary the content a little bit. I'll still obviously do a lot of plant chores. I'll do a lot of the stuff that I normally do, but I don't know. That's just random thoughts. Okay, I think that I only have time to do one more, even though I had a couple more that I wanted to pot up, but my son is awake and my husband has to go run some errands, so I'm like, I do want to talk about this. This is my mystery plant that was sold to me as Syngonium window leaf, but I think that it's a monstera, and there are some other like local people in the area that also think for sure that it's some sort of monstera species. They tried talking to the seller that I think is from the Netherlands, but they never got anywhere with that. So yeah, the running theory at present is that this is a Monstera laniata, which I think is a subspecies of Adansonii, where there are fenestrations, but the holes are like very close to this middle portion of the leaf, if that makes sense, and they're smaller, and obviously there aren't any fenestrations at present. So I really want to get this climbing up a plank or something, because I mean it definitely sends off runners. Like, this wants to climb, I can tell. So I've already trimmed off a few runners, and I have some propagations of this as well, but I do think it's really, really pretty. Supposedly, I mean, I haven't seen this lady's plant, but on some Facebook group somewhere, some lady was like, oh yeah, mine has fenestrations. It's totally a monstera. So I don't know. I don't know, guys. But that's like a little update on that, but I'm gonna have to save that for another time because I don't think I even have the correct pot size to accommodate the plank that I was wanting to use. So I don't know, this might have to wait. I do have my Huernia zubrina and a couple little arms that popped off at various points. There's just 2 of them, but they've already, I think, started rooting in this little soil mix down here. But yeah, it's time to switch this into terracotta, because this is the nursery pot that I got it in, and I'm just gonna use the one that my Epipremnum pinnatum apple variegata was in, because that works. Good root system, but yeah, this soil is like bone dry. Oopsie. I have found that the arms of this plant are really delicate, so I'll have to be really careful when potting it up. This one only has like super tiny roots. Like, there's like 2 absolutely tiny roots, but I'm pretty sure it'll just kind of root up pretty readily. This one, oh wow, would you look at that? Has like a whole little root system happening already. That's kind of fun. I definitely got this plant because I was influenced by wild fern, which if you watch my channel, I'm almost certain you either watch her channel or you're aware of who she is. Okay. I mustn't forget the other fellow. Where do you want to go? Maybe right here. I'm just kind of sticking him in. And that should work. I feel like this is a good plant to share with people because it roots so easily. It's honestly so easy to take care of, I've found. And you know, the arms break off kind of easily, so if you accidentally break a piece off, it's like, well, I'll just root that and give it to a friend. So I've really loved this plant so far. It's honestly so fun. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's so cute. I love it. I love it so much. I actually don't have this one outside with like my other cacti yet. I was kind of holding off until I potted it up because I knew that the root system would probably go crazy if I didn't do that. But, you know, now we're at a crossroads. We're at a point where I have to decide, do I want to put it outside or I just want to keep it inside? I don't really know. It'd probably grow better outside, I'm guessing. But honestly, I feel like the plants that I put outside are not doing that incredible, to be honest with you. So I don't know. I've been watering them really consistently, but I think maybe they honestly might get too much light on my porch, even though it's a north-facing porch. So I don't know. I think it still just gets too much light from the east and the west, probably, for a lot of the plants that are out there. But the cacti, I would think, would be happy, which, like, they're not unhappy. They're just not like growing as much as I expected them to. So I don't know, that was a whole tangent. But yes, this is very cute. I feel like I actually end like a lot of my videos, like a disproportionate number of my videos, with my son fussing. This is yet another one of those videos. I think we're gonna have to end it there. This was a fun little repotting session and little chat. Nice, short and sweet. If you enjoyed this, please feel free to leave a comment down below talking about, I don't know, some of the things I was talking about earlier with my content and that sort of thing. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe if you want to. I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye!